All right, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Tacos en Europa. I am Jorge.
My name is Edgar.
And we are here to talk about the same thing, man. All the Mexican players in Europe. And you already know this is the only podcast that talks to you about every single Mexican player in Europe in both languages, English and Spanish, man. And the thing is that we do have a short episode right now because they have that Mexican window coming up. And we had those players that were sitting down. You know, a lot of them were benched. A lot of them were not even called up because they needed some rest from all of those, like, what was it, like 200 minutes that they played in those two games versus Honduras. So another thing is that episode that we did film, we had some technical difficulties, so we were not able to put it out. So at the end of the episode, we will talk a little bit about the Mexican national team. So be sure to stay in for that. But let's start this episode talking about Edson Alvarez with West Ham, and Raúl Jiménez is not appearing this week. They have a game against Burnley in a 2-1 victory. Edson plays 63 minutes as a starter, man. What do you think about that? Like, Moyes just like discarding the fact that he played like 200 some minutes.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, I don't know if you remember, like the first game Edson had with West Ham, it was after he didn't have a preseason and he was just arriving from his like vacation.
Yeah.
So he had like a week with West Ham and like, oh, you're ready, get in the game, and Edson was just not ready to run. He was dying but playing pretty well. So I think we have to get used to Moyes not giving a fuck about like physically how the players are as long as they can play.
Yeah, it's like I have my game plan, I have my setup. You're not gonna mess it up for me. Like, you're gonna go out, like, you want to go play with your national team, cool. You're gonna come back and you're gonna play what you want to play.
And he did play. Yeah. He did played pretty well, even though he got his usual yellow card.
Yeah,
he played well, but the whole game plan was pretty weird because they play against Burnley, and they won like almost by accident. Like, they were losing the whole game, and in the last 5 minutes they scored twice.
Yeah.
It was a pretty ugly game.
And I'm thinking maybe he's like getting ready for the Europa League or like maybe working on something. But their game is against it's like a Serbian team. I think it's the easy team in the group. So it's like I don't really know what you would be getting ready for. And then after that is Crystal Palace. So I'm hoping he actually rests Edson for the Europa League.
Hopefully, but again, I don't know what goes on inside.
90 minutes there, 90 minutes against Palace.
Yeah.
But they take that 2-1 victory in Burnley. And then we go over to Spain to talk about Andrés Guardado and Julian Araujo, who have Tacos en Europa derby is what we will call it, which is a Mexican versus a Mexican. 1-0 win for Betis and Guardado.
Araujo came in like just in the halftime. Guardado came in a little bit later. But still, they both had a like quiet game. Like, I wouldn't say Guardado played like badly when compared to how he usually does. He was playing on the right and he didn't create much. And then Araujo was on the right, but he was having really, really a lot of trouble with the wingers from Betis. And you can guess why. I mean, Betis' wingers are really fast, really creative. And Palmas was trying to win, and they made the goalkeeper become a figure for Betis. So they tried, and they had a couple of really good chances too.
Yeah, the goal came in early in the 19th minute, and Araujo actually comes in to try to help them tie the game up at the very least. Again, we see like a Las Palmas team that is like, you're not gonna score more than one goal on them. Like, it's gonna be tough to score more than that. They're doing great defensively, and I don't know, man. I just want to see Julian Araujo play more minutes. It is a little weird to me that he doesn't really play much in the window, and they still rest him a lot. I don't even think it's rest at this point. I think he's just not the starter anymore. But
I think he's in bad form. As we saw in the Mexican game where he played like 20 minutes, and again here he doesn't seem as focused as he was at the beginning of the season when he was a starter.
Yeah, I love to see him just play 90 minutes to see how he develops off the momentum. Because I think he's that type of player where he needs to kind of come in from the beginning, and the longer he's in the game, the better he gets. Like we saw with the Mexico, like you said, like he came in and just did terribly from the beginning.
Yeah, he was cutting Mexican passes instead
Yeah,
of
he was just
helping.
in the way. We talked about that in the episode that didn't come out. How he would just really like in the box for no reason. Like you could just be outside and helping out, making the play
Yeah.
wider. Almeria, Cesar Montes, nothing. We have a 2-1 loss against Getafe, who probably would have been one of the teams that they could have competed against. And they dig themselves into a hole, man. 3 points this season in La Liga.
I think Montes isn't in his best form. Like we saw it with the national team, he hasn't been great, but he's having a really rough patch, like a really rough patch.
Yeah, it's this thing about going to like the lower table teams in Spain. You know, like these teams that just kind of came up from the second division, and now you got to try to stay up there, man. Like you're gonna be tested, you're gonna be tried, and it looks like Montes and the whole defense just hasn't been like keeping up with it.
Yeah, they've been falling short.
Yeah.
And I like I will add the coach as well. Even though he has had just like 4 games, he hasn't like fixed much.
Yeah. But talking about Mexican defenders that actually do play well, let's go to Genoa in Italy. Talk about Johan Vasquez against Frosinone. He only comes in the 88th minute to take care of a tie, but at the end of the day, they scored the second goal on them, and Frosinone wins this game 2-1. A very important victory for Genoa, who now stands at 15th place, if I'm not mistaken. Not quite yet in the relegation battle, but gotta start being careful from now on.
Yes, this loss for Genoa is could be trouble in the future.
Yeah,
and
especially against these type of teams like Frosinone.
Yeah, which are their like direct competition.
Yeah,
and Johan, same as with the rest, he played the whole 200 something minutes from Mexico. So it's right that the rest of him, but still, you can tell Genoa missed him a little.
Yeah, and speaking about missing somebody, Salernitana Memo Ochoa, he's actually injured. If you guys don't remember, he got injured in the first game against Honduras, and he will not be playing in Italy for at least a couple match days. They win against Lazio, 2-1 victory against Lazio, without Memo in the squad. What happened? How did this happen?
And the funny thing is, even the keeper that did play, he didn't do much. He like stopped one shot.
Yeah, he had one stop. That's it.
I mean, you could have put anybody.
Hey man, we were talking about how like I wish Memo would have been in this game, because it's probably one of the only games where the opposition is just so much weaker than Salernitana. And it would have been great, you know, to kind of see Memo like rest on the field and actually have a good time.
I mean, it's Lazio, it's a Champions League team, but they were playing terribly. I don't know what the hell happened.
One shot on target, man. Were they resting? I didn't even look at their squad, but they could have been resting like their player. No, Immobile was out there. I remember he scored one of the goals.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what was going on with them, but I mean, it's a good thing for the Champions League group.
I'm talking about Champions League.
Champions League. Santi Jimenez, Excelsior, Feyenoord. It's a Rotterdam derby, guys. It's a 4-2 win with obviously nothing more, nothing less than a hat trick from Santi Jimenez, who plays 83 minutes, man. But regardless of a hat trick, he does have these 2 shots, man, that we need to talk about. We need to talk about these 2 shots.
I mean, he has to. You say shots, I say like misses, clearances.
Yeah.
I mean, he missed one shot like 2 yards from the net.
With no keeper.
With no keeper, completely empty. And he just like skies it. The whole ball. I don't know how the hell they could do it.
Yeah, man. Talk to me about that stat that you gave us, man. It's a great stat.
We were talking about. We usually don't talk about a lot of XG. You know, XG, XA. So it's kind of like a very esoteric, very abstract. So we don't like that much about it. But the thing is, as the easier a shot is, the higher you have the XG. Mm-hmm. That's it. So that shot that Santi missed was 0.76 XG, expected goal from that shot. And if you add up the 3 goals that he did score, you get 0.80 something. I mean, barely more than the one that he missed.
Yeah.
And he did miss another duel with the goalkeeper, alone with space. He, I mean, he could have ended with 5, even 6 goals.
You could argue 6. You could argue 6, but like if you make those 2 easy ones, that's for sure like 5 goals right now in one game. And obviously, you can say that about a lot of strikers. You know, like oh, he could end up with this many. But just to stay here a little bit, since not much happened in this episode. Like I'm liking it, man. I like that he's struggling a little bit right now because I think like the sport is kind of telling him to relax. Like the sport is humbling him a little bit. You know, you had that Panenka a couple of weeks back where like he missed like terribly. And football kind of said like, all right, man, let's chill out. Like we're not like that yet. And now he misses this crazy goal in the net without a keeper. Because I believe he was just trying to like bang it in the net and just kind of like, you know, be a little more abrasive than he should have. And I think I like when the sport humbles a player because it's either he does it now or later in the next stage of his game at the next team that he goes to. And it's better that he just goes through it right now.
I mean, yes, but also it's good that he can like that he mentally prepares for these things that happen.
Yeah.
He has had such a good run since like January from this year to now. Like he's one of the best strikers in the world stat wise.
Yeah.
In this year, so it's good that he's like having these troubles now and not when he gets to a bigger team and he's going to like kick his ass.
Yeah.
You know, like the media, the pressure, everything. If he can deal with it now, that's great. But also, we were talking about like mentally how it's good for him. I want to talk about the conversation about Santi Jimenez and the Mexican team and how he plays with Feyenoord and Mexico, because they were saying, "Oh, look, he's like scoring everything he wants, even though he missed." Like, okay,
most things
yeah, both things are true. He's scoring with Feyenoord and he's not scoring with Mexico. Why? Like the easy answer is, oh, Mexico doesn't have as good a player as Feyenoord. Right, you know, like Edson Alvarez, Lozano. I mean, literally, Feyenoord wanted Chavez. Chiquito Sanchez could be a starter. You cannot tell me Antuna wouldn't be at least a substitute, a regular substitute in that team.
A rotation player for sure.
I mean, for sure we have the talent. What we don't have is teams against whom we play and they open themselves up to space that we use to create something. That's something we don't have. Honduras was playing very low block, very strongly close, and we just didn't. I mean, we did create a little bit, and among the goalkeeper and the bad shots we had. But the thing is, we struggle to create against lower blocks. That's normal. That every team struggles against lower blocks. And in the Eredivisie, there aren't as low a block as the CONCACAF.
Which actually, the slump that he had was against lower block teams too, in the Eredivisie.
Yeah, there were a couple that the thing is they love their football too much to play like like a Getafe low block. Those like I hate football and I hate you low blocks that you used to. The terrorism ball, whatever you do to win against Real Madrid or something like that. Like, do you remember that game in the Champions League where Atletico Madrid plays against City with a 5-5?
Yeah.
I could see Pep Guardiola just like trying to rip out his hair again.
Like his soul was like leaving his body. You can just see it throughout the whole podcast. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, dude, I truly agree with you, man. Like people expect it to be just plug and play. Like, oh, take him out of here, put him in here, same result. It's not the case, and it has nothing to do with the players, man. It has a lot to do with just like the different in the game plan, and also the difference in the opposition. Like a lot of the teams that he played, like I said, were low blocks in the Eredivisie when he was having a slump. And man, dude, imagine having a slump and coming back to get a hat trick. Yes, how many people do that?
That's hopefully is good. Let's see now against Atletico Madrid. Talking about it, they're gonna play in the week again in the Champions League, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Let's see if we get at least one. At least one. I'm good with it.
And no, since we're talking about Champions League teams, we have to go to PSV that just can't lose in the Eredivisie. They have won like their 40th game in a row or something like that.
And this was one of the like harder ones too, because you have Feyenoord,
Yes.
which is your other like competition. Ajax isn't in their best selves right now, but Twente has been doing great. I think they were in fourth place going into this game,
Yes.
or they're in fourth
Very
place now.
intense.
The thing is that we have a player named Chucky Lozano in that team. Is our left winger, man, and he pretty much he helped them out, man. He did him a great solid in this game, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't score nor assist, but he did probably solve the game for PSV. And the thing he did is just like get his ass kicked. Oh, he provoked a lot of fouls. One which ended in a red card,
Yeah,
and that was like in the 30-minute mark. And after that, the game just opened up.
yeah.
Like it began, and PSV just like really started to create, and eventually the three goals ended up falling. And Lozano, he didn't have a good game in the attack. He had a bad game, I would say, because he just seemed very tired.
He was losing
Like,
a lot of easy balls, like where like he couldn't get to it. It wasn't like he wasn't
yes,
like putting in effort. He couldn't get to it, and you can see just the tiredness, man, in his legs.
yeah, but also he was playing very, very deep in the
Yeah.
defense. He was going to the defense to help out Serginho Dest.
Yeah.
That had I thought he was having a good game, Dest, and then just kept up getting his ass handed to him by the right winger.
Yeah.
So Shuki helped out a lot with it. He even became one of the counter attacks that ended up with the second, third goal, I think.
Yeah, man, and like that's the second goal I think it is. Like he literally comes back to steal that ball and he initiates the counter. He sends it to Romanjo, who then sends it to Bakayoko, and it ends in a goal. But yeah, like it's like you can just tell how much he was helping out, tracking back, running back and forth. On top of that, all that time he just played in the two games in that window for Mexico, like that's gotta be a lot, man. So then Noah Lang comes back from injury and he gets subbed in the 67th. Did you see anything that you think puts Chucky in danger out of that starting spot?
Ah, I wouldn't like worry too much yet because Noah Lang is rusty. Like
Yeah.
like he's coming from injury. He sent a couple of crosses that were like Jürgen Damm specials, like just skied him completely out of the stadium.
I mean,
Even though,
yeah, we learned that he's not a sister, man. He's a scorer.
yeah, he has he's Ronaldo,
Yeah.
no,
The
not
Mexican-
Kvaratskhelia.
the Mexican Ronaldo, man. But yeah, man, it was one of the more interesting games of the week, I believe, man. With that red card, with it just Chucky just doing his thing. Great game here for him and for all of PSV who win this 3-0. I don't know if I mentioned that. But over in Belgium, we have Arteaga with Genk. It is a 1-0 loss against Standard Liège. Our second good game for Arteaga in a row, who was actually rested in the win with Mexico. Dude, we have here a fullback that has actually completed a cross in a game.
To be fair, I think Araujo did complete a cross as well.
Did he?
On the
We-
Palmas one, yes.
We have two fullbacks that completed a cross in a game. What else do we need, man? Call him up. Call him up.
They were called, to be fair.
Oh, were they?
Eh,
Damn.
yes, he had like an unusually a good game as a fullback, and you were saying that it was because the other fullback wasn't there. So
Munoz, yeah, the
Arteaga
right back,
could
the
be-
Colombian.
like Arteaga was like able to take a more like important role in the attack, and,
Yeah.
and he did well. Actually, he won all of the duels, right?
Every single one. 7 in the ground, 1 in the air.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
Still not enough to win against Standard League.
Standard Liège, who I think there are 2 places below them on the table, but I enjoyed this a lot from it. They have 5 defensive actions, 2 out of 2 dribbles, 2. And like it's like I said, when Munoz is in there, they kind of use him to be that attacking fullback. So they kept the other one a little lower. And I love seeing him like that because I feel like that's what we need in the national team for him to do. So it's good to see these type of games from him that he has the ability. It's not consistent, but he can do it. So we'll see if he can get a third game in a row next week, or maybe in the Conference League if he plays.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see.
Really wait and see. Nothing in Portugal. Jorge Sanchez not even called up for the Cup game because he did play.
It was like 48 hours after the Mexico game. He was never going to play.
Yeah, there was no chance. I don't even think he made it home at that point.
Could you imagine he played like 180 minutes?
Yeah, he played both games. Yes. I don't know why, but he played both games. AK Athens, Orbelin Pineda, and Rodolfo Pizarro. Actually, we have two players in this game. One of them is starter, one comes in the 75th. They actually get subbed in for each other. It's a 3-0 win against PAS Giana with nothing more than an assist for Orbelin Pineda.
Yeah, Orbelin finally played in his usual role, not with, for some reason, Jimmy puts him in the wing. He plays as a 10, like behind the strikers, behind the wingers. And he did fine. He creates a lot. He moves the game, even though they had this like really boring game with only the goal that Orbelin assisted, which was like a Barcelona tiki-taka, just like complete full attack sequence. But after that, it was a very boring game.
Yeah. And the goal, it's like it was his assist, but like he was kind of just like a cog in the machine. Like, you can tell it was just like a boom. Like they knew what they were doing. And it just happened to be him that did the last stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or Luis Chavez. Luis Chavez also is rested for this window. And then we have the rewards of the week, man. Who was the best player this week? Not hard at all.
Not hard at all.
Mr. Patrick himself, Santi Jimenez.
The not 5 goals, but 3.
Hey, man. What is this, full picante or what, man?
No, I mean, but he did. I mean, there's no comparing this week.
Yeah, and it's fair to criticize, man, because it's like I said, like it's one of those things where I think if he humbles down a little bit, he can do things like that, like possibly score 5 goals in one game. So let's see if he does it. But also, like, I mean, you're coming back from a slump with a hat trick, bro. Like, who else does that? Who else can do that? So great week for Santi. Your favorite game of the week, what was it?
I will say I really like Betis Las Palmas. Even though I just watched the second half, it was whenever you see a game where Betis plays home in Villamarín, it's great. The atmosphere is great, and they really care.
Betis is always a treat, man. It's always a treat to watch Betis in general. And Las Palmas, like I've said it a million times, is one of my favorite teams to watch this whole season out of the Mexicans here. And I mean, best defense, you're not going to score more than 1 goal on them, man. You are not going to do that. But for me, I want to say the PSV Twente game. I really enjoyed watching that one. After the red card, the game just kind of opened up beautifully. And I love seeing PSV, be there attacking themselves and just mess them around a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they're struggling so much on the Champions League, because they don't know anything but attack.
Yeah, it's like, and anything for the extra column, Did you find anything this week?
No, but we can take this time to talk about a little bit about the Mexico game.
Yeah, let's talk about the national team, man.
Yeah, because it was like, I think we're not going to talk like at full, like the episode that we lost to the technicalities. But I think there's good things to take out other than the ticket to the Copa America and the Nations League Final Four. So I really like Edson as a captain. I wish he stays a captain, even though Memo Ochoa eventually will come back. I hope again we don't see Orbelin on the wing again, like ever. I hope we don't see again Henry Martin as a starter.
Yeah,
he's fine as a substitute. I think he's a good striker, but he's just he shouldn't be started.
Yeah.
I really like the Chavez and Sanchez as starters. Just in general, they're they and Edson are the best midfielders we have. I
Yeah.
really like.
I agree with everything. I think just messing around with the fullbacks a little bit, as much as we can, because we can't really do too much there. Messing a little bit there. Our wingers, I want to see Quinones a little more, man. He did pretty decent in that second game. Like, I mean, at some point we were playing with like 5 attackers at the top, just try to tie that up, you know. So it was very fun. But you were talking about something in the other episode about how you saw a lot of, you know, like the controversy about the win. They gave us 9 minutes. The penalty was retaken twice, but I mean, I did see a lot of like parody though in the conversation. Some people were saying that, but the other half was saying like, no, it was right, because they were on the floor half the game. They were wasting that exact amount of time that they added, and the guy was out of his line on both of those penalty takens. So it's like the problem here for me isn't the added time. The problem for me is the lack of consistency from the refs. Like, another game that needs the same amount of time won't get that same amount of time. It is very, very rare to see that much time added at a soccer game and a football game. You know, now you were telling me after the World Cup, it was being a little more normalized, which I hope it does. Because even if it's us wasting time, I would like to see for these games to be added the right amount of time, every single minute that was wasted. Because we need to play the game, man. You can't just like have an excuse to throw yourself on the floor and play a little less, go home early. I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I agree completely. The thing is, the object of this so much at a time is not to play these like 100 or 110 long games. The thing is to push the conversation, the style of play to be like, oh, there's no point in me losing time.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't be rolling on the floor. I shouldn't be just trying to waste time, because they're gonna put it back.
Yeah, and that's gonna take time for them to get used to it. You know, it's not gonna happen this year, next year. It's gonna happen as the game ages. But we need to keep doing that in order for them to understand that, like, hey, you can roll around all you want, but you're just gonna be out here longer.
Yeah, and the thing is, as you said, you just need consistency from the refs and just the leagues in general. They need to do this more and more and more and more until the teams that do waste time, they eventually just use it to break like good streaks in the game. Like, for example, you're attacking me like 20 minutes, just attacking me. I need to waste a little time so you cool off a bit. And that's normal. That's in every sport.
It's strategy at the end of the day. And ironically, I'm talking about consistency, but the Canada game also received 9 minutes, just to put that out there, just so people know. We weren't the only ones.
And poor Canada, man. I mean, I wish they get to Copa America.
They'll make it through. I think they'll make it through in the play-in. I think so.
Yeah, I really like their team.
Yeah.
I really like how they play, how they coach. Even though I think they changed coach in
they have somebody, I forgot their name, but they have a promising prospect right now to coach them, and everyone's excited about it if it is him. So I think they'll be okay. I think they will make it. I hope they make it with us.
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, even though, again, as long as Panama is there, like, I'm happy. They have been so well run.
Yeah,
I'm really, really, really happy about Panama just like reaching this point where, like, Mexico doesn't say, it's Panama, it doesn't matter, or the US just like bulldozes them. No, you're gonna play Panama. I have to take it serious.
Yeah, it's the same conversation, man. The CONCACAF teams, man, it's not a game anymore. That they're here to win. They're here to attack you and make you suffer.
Yeah,
man.
Same as Canada, the same as Jamaica. I mean, that's why they passed to the Final Four of the Nations.
I think the 6 teams that make it are going to be like, it's going to be interesting for them to be in the Copa America. Like, they're going to deserve to be there, the 6 teams that make it. But all right, man, we're running out of time here, so we will see you guys next week. Do not miss the next episode. Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, a lot of football to talk about. And we should have our players back now after the week's rest, hopefully. Maybe not, but we will be here anyway. So see you guys next week.
Yeah.